WFXR is your local election headquarters, and one of the races we continue to watch is for Roanoke's mayor. Three familiar faces are running: Republican David Bowers, Democrat Joe Cobb, and Independent Stephanie Moon, who is joining us live today. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
So talk about, for people who don't really know much about you, you've been on council since 2021.
Yes.
And before that, you served as the city clerk. Kind of talk about that experience and your background and why you're deciding to run for mayor now.
Okay. I came into the city of Roanoke City Clerk's office in 1978. Worked my way up to be city clerk, and I was city clerk for almost 13 to 14 years. And in that time, I worked under 5 mayors and several council members. And over the years, in the last decade, I recognized that the tenure was leaving. So who was going to be there to represent the people? And those that had started coming on wasn't from Roanoke. They had moved into Roanoke, and they were coming on a party, just gotten into a Democratic Party or Republican Party, and was running on that ticket. But did the people know them? And so as I was looking toward retirement, I got to thinking about, what about the people? Who is going to be here with institutional knowledge? So I ran in during COVID as an independent. And I said, let the people determine who should best represent them. And I was successful with that run, although I came in third. And looking now ahead, we don't have any tenure. When Mayor Lee leaves, you're going to be looking at 6 years. 4 years, and I think maybe 2 years with Peter. So I'm looking at all of that, and I got to thinking again, do I run for council, be in a safe space? I said no. The people need someone who's strong, who's outspoken, and will represent them. And that's when I decided to throw my hat in and run independent again to be that voice for the people.
Yeah, and talk about what are some of Roanoke is such a great city, but every city has its challenges. What are some of the challenges you think that Roanoke City faces, and what are some of the solutions that you'd like to implement if elected mayor?
We look at so many challenges. It depends on who you are talking to. We know gun violence is a challenge, but gun violence has been around for years. But for us as a people in Roanoke, to me, it has come interpersonal. It's black on black. You seldom will hear of a non-black having a crisis in gun violence. We see it in our people. So I look at that to say, I've lived in the Northwest section since all my adult life. And I understand people, and most of it is youth. So you look at the youth, what is it about the youth? What is it they are not getting? And I think about the family unit, what has broken down. Government has broken down our family unit. The single mothers trying to work, kids being raised by kids. I came out of that era myself with my mom, so I get it. So it's a lot of things like that, and to bring solutions, it is not a one person, and that's where we fall short. It has got to be all involved. And that's why voices heard, hands to serve. It's a contribution. What all do we have to come to the table? Everyone has a role to play. We need to allow people's voices to be heard in making those solutions.
Yeah, and something that's been talked about a lot, it's been a hot topic issue here in Roanoke, is the change in rezoning, getting rid of single-family rezoning. You were the only member on council to vote against that change.
Yes.
Tell me why you decided to vote against that.
All my time on council has been transparency. People's voices need to be heard, processed, and that has not been the case. And I know that because of my time in the clerk's office. I remember how we used to engage the public. We no longer do that. You cannot always use the tool of social media. It has its place, but when you don't reach out to the people and go to where they're at, you lose that. And that's what I kept saying. What about the people? What about the community? What about in that process, how much inclusion has the people had? And I found that was not the case. So I said it should not be a broad brush. We've got conservation districts, we've got rehab districts, and the community keeps saying, what about these abandoned houses? What about these boarded up houses? What about the vacant lots all through the city in certain areas? To me, why aren't we looking at that as a palette? Let's look at those areas to test some of this, but not look at putting this all across the city next door where people moved in wanting single family homes. So I voted no.
Yeah. Tell me about, you've been on council. What is one of your biggest accomplishments from being on council, or what is something that you would want to go back and maybe change or do differently?
I don't stand around for successes to have the horn tooted, so to speak. I just believe in putting people where they need to be. I look at connecting the dots. I came out of the city clerk's office as such. So when I look at accomplishments, just being the voice of the people, speaking out. I told them I would do that. And as you know, I'm very outspoken. I ask the questions. So I want people to know that's what I'm there for. I want to ask the questions. I look at what is it the administration is not telling us. Again, city clerk's office, as clerk, I went to meetings at the administration and I would hear those conversations. We don't need to tell the council all of this. So again, I know that, or you're in the back room with the council making decisions, what they're going to come out, as they say, vote behind closed doors, so to speak, straw vote. And then you come out, you're not really being transparent to the people. So that's my biggest accomplishment for me, is I have held true to that. I have voiced that opinion. I am still vocal. I'm very outspoken, and I still represent the people by speaking out and voting on issues of no when it does not involve them.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie Moon, for being here with us. And you can catch this full interview along with our other interviews with the other mayoral candidates on WFXRTV.com.